Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So what is contextual inquiry? Contextual inquiry is part of the primary research. You do it through observations and conversations. You need to go to the place or the location or the environment where the user is performing his activity. So you need to observe the user while he is doing that activity. The observations are documented. So if they are, operating something or using something, you can ask them questions while they are doing their activity. This could provide you with very useful information. Converse with the user to seek their feedback, opinions. Why did they take this decision? Why did they buy this? What are the challenges? What are the problems, the context. You can even ask them to narrate their experiences. So can it be done individually or in groups? Yeah, it can be done both individually or in small groups. Being in small groups helps because, for example, one can do the conversation while the other can actually document the conversation. And another person can take photographs. Yeah, so group work actually helps, and one can share the responsibilities while doing this study. So how does it help? Why do you do contextual inquiry? See, contextual inquiry can provide you very detailed information because you're going to the place, you're with the user, you can actually see what are the issues. Okay, and also it can lead to an experiential understanding of the topic. Going to the place, seeing the surroundings, the context, the culture, the people, what tools they use can be very, very revealing. So let's look at the steps. Observe and converse with the users at their location while they're performing the activity. Do document these through text, notes, images or video. Take permission before that. You need to go through this information, write the summary as key phrases or you can do it on sticky notes or small cards. You could use different colors to denote different types of information that you get, like observations, the issues, the suggestions, challenges. You could sort it out. We've done this before for brainstorming. Those that have relationships or affinities into similar categories. You could give titles to these categories. So, first step is identify your users who can provide you with the information. You can refer to the user participant mapping, which you did in secondary research part 2. You need to locate where your users are. You need to contact them, get permission so you can actually go to their place and do these studies. Observation is very, very important. At the natural location while they are using the product or service. So again, notebook, sketchbook becomes quite useful. You need to document this either through text, images or video. You need to note down the points that you need to discuss. You need to do this exercise before you actually go start the conversation. So a simple method is to use simple cards where you write down these points and you can just pull up the cards one by one during the discussions. It's a very simple technique of using cards. Converse with the user, he's the expert, you're the listener, right? Because you need to get information from him. So you need to get his thoughts, opinions, feedback, challenges. You could request them to narrate their experiences because that also could provide very useful information. Again, repeating, please remember that listening is very, very important. Get his permission, the user's permission to document and record, and you could refer it later on. Also take down notes as points during the discussion. Go through the information and make summary as key phrases or small, in few words you put down the summary. You could put it on sticky notes or on cards. You could use different colors to differentiate different types of activities, like observations can be in one, problems can be in another, suggestions can be in another. And you need to sort it out into categories, and you could put titles to them. So let's look at an example here. This is a class project guided by Professor Anirudh Joshi at the IDC School of Design at IIT Bombay. There are 4 students who took part in this. So the initial brief was designing of an automation system controller for a bedroom. Okay, so it's a typical Indian middle class bedroom. The controller or the smart device is wall mounted, just like the switches you have for the fan. Okay, so that was the initial brief. Okay, and they used the method of contextual inquiry to gain more insights into this. So they conducted user interviews with a sample of 16 people at their place. So they went to these different apartments. This was in the city of Mumbai. They collected both demographic information as well as collated the information that they did through talking to them or conversing with them. Okay, so those that are connected, collected through demographics is kind of represented here. On the right side, you can see the flows, where all they talk to 16 users, where the 16 users are located. Okay, some are even located at the 15th floor, right? Then you had how many males versus how many females. Okay, and also their age range. What was the age that you talked to them? You also looked at some of them are from urban areas and some of them are from rural areas. That was their background. And based on the location of their work, right? So you got all this information, you put it down so you kind of know who your users are. Then you made points and you went and made conversations with them. Okay, so this is the summary of the conversations put on an Excel sheet. Okay, it's numbered. What was the summary of the conversations in a couple of sentences or few words? What it means also. For example, you can see that is demographics, that's a statement by the user. Okay, so on and so forth, right? Yeah, so some are insights from the study, some are observations from the study. Okay, so this was done for all the 16 users. Okay, so you had all this information and you had different kind of information which came from them. You could prioritize this information and then put it on sticky notes. It's an image that you can't really see because so much of information has been now categorized into different categories, okay, through affinities. Okay, and you can see the big nodes that have the titles on them, and they are grouped into different categories. Okay, so this takes a while. So you cross relate information, you make sure it fits into the different categories. You can use different colors to differentiate different types of information that you got from them. Okay, so let's have a look at a close-up of this. Okay, so you can put nice markers too. Say, like for example, these two are very important. So they put a, spectacle over there. Okay, some users believe that faster automated work is laziness or will make them lazy, while other users are afraid of being perceived as lazy for using automation. So this is their notion of automation, right? And it is out of all these references that they got from the study. Okay, similarly, another statement that they got is users may or may not exhibit cost consciousness, but ignore it when it comes to usage habits. So they notice that while they're talking about it, they're conscious of the cost, but while using it, it's not so much. Again, all these are through inferences from the conversations they've had with the users. Okay, so again, I'm repeating this. Okay, so first is you need to locate your users, make a list of issues that you want to talk to them. Okay, go and converse them, record and document these conversations, put it on smaller notes, like for example Excel sheet, and then transfer it to here. For example, it's transferred to sticky notes. You categorize it to different categories such that they form different groups, and each one becomes an useful information. Okay, and here you can see the final collated information from all this. So I'm going to read a couple of them. Social and cultural factors also tend to dictate the interaction on different users with several elements of the room. Okay, so it means that how socially they connect with others and cultural factors also make a difference. Okay, reading another one, safety concerns and convenience drives the user's interaction with their windows. Okay, so when especially they are shutting or opening the windows, safety is one of the considerations. Users may or may not exhibit cost consciousness, but ignore it when it comes to usage habits. This we just saw was an outcome of one of the categories of information, right? So here, for example, you can see there are 4 on this side and 4 on that side, 8 key inferences from the study, and you make use of it to go ahead with your solution. Okay, so they become factors that you need to consider while going ahead and coming out with ideas. So one of the things they did was that they did a conceptual model of the user with the system, how the system will control curtains, windows, fans and lights. Okay, and it has motion sensors to find out if somebody has come into the room or not come into the room. Okay, there's a temperature sensor, so it kind of knows what the weather is. Okay, and you need to use smart plugs. Okay, so because you can connect a smart appliance, like for example, you can connect your mobile to this system, right? It can have a mobile version of it as well as a physical version of it. Okay, which you can operate, which is, as you can see, it's next to your bed here. Okay, and you can control the light, the fan. You can put, for example, buttons which make it very warm and cozy. Yeah, so you can build many functionalities into it. Okay, so when we come to the case study part of it, we'll go detail into this particular project. So let's look at why do you do contextual inquiry? How does it actually help? You realize that primary research based on first-hand information fills in the gaps for the secondary research. And as a designer, you go to the place, You look at the activity, you experience the problem space, and this is a very, very important and valuable asset for understanding the problem. You can also find very minor details and specific information that can make a big difference, because when finally you do a product, it's those small things which make a big difference to the innovation. And as we mentioned before, it can be both qualitative as well as quantitative information that you can get. I hope you understood this section because it's a very important section. So just to summarize it, you need to decide what are the issues you need to find information on. You need to locate users. Then you have to go to their place of work or activity, talk to them, converse with them, document this process, put it down in small notes, reorganize them according to different categories, and from this draw inferences which will also point towards opportunities for design. And that could be a second brief. You started with an initial brief and then you come to another brief, because now you have the experience of doing both secondary as well as primary research, and then you come out with different alternatives as solutions, pick one of them and go ahead. So let's look at the persons behind contextual inquiry. It's Karen Holzbart and Hugh Bayer. These were the two people who thought of this all the way back in 1988. And according to them, contextual design is a user-centered design process that uses in-depth field research to drive innovative design.